everybody. So good to see you here today at Mission Kids. Is everyone focused? Oh, not yet? Maybe getting closer. Oh yeah! Hey, let's get this party started. Summer, we're looking at what it means to focus and take a closer look at what it means to put our faith in God. Faith is kind of like the wind. We see the branches and the trees moving and things being blown around. We can feel the wind on our faces when we stand outside like this. We can sometimes even hear the wind, but we can't see it. We know it's there because we can see what it does. Faith works the same way. We can't see God, but when we take a closer look, we can see the things that God has created. Now, what are some things that God has created? I'll point to a few on the screen and you tell me if that's what you were thinking, if that's what you were about to say. Are you ready? That brings us to our virtue this month of faith. Wow, what a big word. But what does it mean? Here's the definition we've been going with for the month of June. Faith is trusting in what you can't see because of what you can see. Even though we can't see God, we can see all the things He has created. That's faith. It's time to get to know each other just a little bit better in a game I call Should I Stay or Should I Go? This game is going to require you to stand up. Now, you can stand up right where you're at, or you can come right in front of your screen to play. Now, here's how we play Should I Stay or Should I Go? Now that e-learning is done, we all want to get out of the house, right? And do something. The question for you is, how badly do you want to get out of your own house? In this game, a question will appear on the screen. Your job is to decide what you would rather do by standing on the side that has the option you like the best, like this. Got it? Are you ready? Let's go. Right before we jump into today's Bible story, let's check out our virtue again. It's faith. Faith is trusting in what you can't see because of what you can see. Today, we get to talk about a really important person in the Bible. He actually wrote most of what we call the New Testament. Now, hold up a Bible. If you have one, hold it up. If you don't, that's all right. Now, you might know him by the name Paul, but he also went by the name Saul. Now, for today's purposes, we call him Saul, and this is where we pick up today's Bible story.
The Bible. It's 66 books of history, stories, letters, and poetry that fit together to form God's one big story. The epic adventure of how He created us and loves us so much that He made a way to rescue us. As we travel through the Bible, from Genesis to Revelation, we discover people who met God and found their lives changed forever. Now for an amazing story, inspired by the book of Acts, chapter 9, verses 1 through 9.
If anyone was set up for the good life, it was Saul of Tarsus.
Greetings.
Though Saul's family was Jewish, he was also born a Roman citizen. Throughout his life, he was known by two different names.
You may call me Saul or Paul.
As a young man, Saul was sent to Jerusalem to study with the famous Rabbi Gamaliel.
Let's see. You have achieved 100% in classical literature, 111% in philosophy, and in ethics, 99%.
Oh, I vow to do better.
Saul became a Pharisee like his father before him. He carefully studied God's law and prayed 3 times a day.
Dear God, help me follow your laws 100% perfectly.
Like the other religious leaders in Jerusalem, though, Saul was caught off guard by the events that surrounded the life and death of Jesus.
Good riddance. Now that fool can't try to overturn God's laws anymore.
Haven't you heard? Jesus' follower says he's returned to life.
They've seen Jesus?
They've seen Jesus.
Those riffraff will slink away soon enough.
Against all odds, the followers of Jesus didn't fade away. In fact, the numbers began to grow.
5,000? You're telling me that 5,000 people are following the way of a dead man?
Well, technically, they think he's alive.
Not helping.
The religious leaders in Jerusalem did everything they could to squash the new movement. They even arrested a leader among the Jesus followers named Stephen. After telling lies about him, they dragged him outside the city.
This man is a disgrace.
Saul stood by and held the coats of the men, who picked up stones and threw them at Stephen, until they killed him.
If Stephen had just let go of this Jesus nonsense, he wouldn't have had to die.
It's terrible. I heard people are following the way of Jesus in other cities too.
What? Inconceivable.
Saul quickly became known for hunting down people who believed in Jesus. When he discovered that some Jews in Damascus were following Jesus, he went straight to the high priest.
This Jesus thing is spreading everywhere.
I'm aware.
They think he's alive.
Hashtag yup.
Someone should do something.
I hope you have something constructive to say.
Give me letters to the synagogues in Damascus so I can arrest all the believers and bring them back here.
Now you're talking.
Saul set off for Damascus with the blessing of the high priest. He traveled with a group of men to arrest the believers they found. After days on the road, they neared the city.
There it is.
We'll make it by lunch.
No, we must take time to pray.
As he did 3 times every day, Saul stopped and turned to Jerusalem to pray, certain God was on his side.
Dear Lord, help me to catch every single one of those despicable Jesus people.
Suddenly, a light more brilliant than the midday sun blazed down around Saul. He staggered, fell to the ground, squeezing his eyes shut against the glare.
Saul, why are you opposing me?
Saul gasped. It felt as though the whole earth shifted beneath him.
Who are you, Lord? I am Jesus. I am the one you are opposing.
The men around Saul stared in horror and confusion, unable to speak. They could see no one, but heard a sound, perhaps like a roar of thunder.
Now get up and go into the city. There you will be told what you must do."
Saul reeled. He struggled to his feet and finally opened his eyes. He saw nothing, only darkness.
What's happened?
You tell us. We saw the light, and you fell, and this sound, and then you said...
I can't see.
What?
I can't see. I've been blinded.
That's not good. Here, take my hand.
Saul grasped the man's hand and shuffled a few steps forward.
Who are you talking to?
I think it was Jesus.
You heard Jesus?
I heard Jesus.
Saul's companions led him into Damascus, where he stayed at the home of a man named Judas on Straight Street.
Want something to eat?
I'm not hungry.
Or water?
Not thirsty.
For 3 days, Saul wrestled with himself and God. He'd come face to face with the very man he knew was dead, but discovered that Jesus was very much alive. Now blind, Saul was forced to see everything in a brand new light.
Wow, what an amazing story about this guy, Saul. That brings us to our bottom line for today. Knowing Jesus changes the way you see everything. If you think about it, God has been helping people see Him all throughout His story. From the very beginning, He's been helping people see the world in a new way, a way that will allow them to make the wise choice, a way that will help them treat others the way they want to be treated. He's been helping people understand who He is and what His purpose for their life might be. Our verse for the month of June comes from Hebrews chapter 11, verse 1, and it goes like this. Faith is being sure of what we hope for. It is being sure of what we do not see. Hebrews chapter 11, verse 1. Now this month, our verse is nice and short, so one good way to memorize it is to say it while washing your hands. So, turn on the water, soap up your hands, then start to say the verse while you wash and rinse. So, let's give it a try the next time you go to wash your hands. As we wrap up today's Bible story, God may not show Himself to us in a blinding light like He did with Saul, but there are lots of times when He shows us something new about Him. Sometimes God can speak to you through something that you experience, like when you spend time in nature and you see what a beautiful world He made, or you listen to a song that reminds you how much He loves you. Sometimes when you go through something really tough in life, you realize how important it is that God is always with you. You might even see how God can use something that seems bad to do something you never expected. Or maybe something really great happens and you're just so happy and excited, but most of all, you're grateful to God. Here's what I want you to remember today, and it's our bottom line. Knowing Jesus changes the way you see everything. In our family talk time in just a moment, you can discuss this question. How does God try to get your attention? Have you seen God get your attention in the past? Was it through a friend or a small group leader? Was it through a song you heard or a verse you read from the Bible? Now, there are many ways that God can get our attention, but like Saul, we have to be willing to respond when He does and let our new perspective change the way we live. Go ahead and pause the video and discuss that question as a family. Then come back and press play. Dear God, it's amazing how you completely changed Saul's life. After you met him there on the road, he was never the same. You do the same thing for us too. When we put our faith in you, you transform us on the inside. You make us want to love others instead of just living for ourselves. You change the way we see everything. Please help us to see things your way as we live every day. We love you, and we ask these things in Jesus' name. Amen. Have you ever gotten up in the morning really excited for that amazing, delicious bowl of cereal? Raise your hand if you have. Oh yeah, raise them high. But as you get to the kitchen, your mom says, "There's no milk." What? My life is ruined. Could there be anything worse than no milk in the morning? I think there might be. And it happened to me just the other day. And it just so happens I have it on video. You want to see it? All right, check it out. I think I want some milk with my cereal today. You know what? I think I'd rather have a glass of orange juice today. Oh yeah.
The next day.
Milk's gone bad? What?
The next day.
Since the milk's bad, I'm just gonna have a glass of chocolate milk. Oh no! Not you too, chocolate milk!
The following day.
Well, now it's time to get a glass of orange juice. What? Now all my drinks are bad. Oh, whoa. What is this? What is this? Oh, I should have known it was a bad egg. As we close our Mission Kids service today, I want you to know I love you and I miss you. And I want you to also remember, as Toy Story put it so well, you've got a friend in me, Pastor Joshua. So until next weekend, friends, remember, treat others the way you want to be treated. See you later.